Have you ever watched someone you love suffer in silence? Maybe it's your mom, sitting quietly in her favorite chair, rubbing her knees every few minutes, but saying nothing. Or maybe it's your grandfather, with that tired smile he gives when he thinks you're not noticing how hard it is for him to get up from the couch. You ask if he's okay. He always says the same thing, "I'm fine." But you know better. You've seen the creams, the pills, the appointments, the constant search for relief. And still, the pain, the discomfort, it lingers. Day after day. Quiet. Unspoken. But always there. Now, imagine if the answer didn't come in a prescription bottle. What if it was hiding in the back of your kitchen cabinet? I know it sounds too simple. Too ordinary. Castor oil? Baking soda? Two ingredients we've all seen, probably ignored, maybe even thrown out once or twice. But when they're combined, something incredible happens. Something gentle, yet powerful. And it's not just old folklore. Even natural health educators like Barbara O'Neill have spoken about the surprising ways these simple remedies can bring comfort to our elders. This isn't just about pain relief. This is about skin that heals instead of cracks. It's about digestion that flows instead of struggles. It's about aging gracefully, without the constant battle. And here's the thing, you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need a lab. You just need to care, and to know what to do. Because today, you're going to learn exactly what happens when you mix castor oil and baking soda. You'll find out how to use it, how it works, and why so many people are stunned by the results. Some even say doctors are speechless. Is it the missing piece in your loved one's care routine? That's what we're about to explore. So stay with me. This could change the way you look at healing forever. And hey, if you believe in the power of natural healing, go ahead and comment "Natural healing is powerful" below. And don't forget to subscribe to Elders Wisdom Institute, because here we believe that knowledge is love, especially when it helps someone you care about feel better, move easier, and live with dignity. Let's get started. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. Your grandfather, maybe the strongest man you've ever known, is sitting on the edge of his bed in the early morning light. His hands are resting on his knees, just trying to will the pain away. He shifts slowly, winces, tries to stand. You can see the struggle written all over his face. Not just from pain, but from pride. He doesn't want to ask for help. And you, or standing in the doorway, feel helpless. Because you've tried everything, right? Ointments, pills, physical therapy, maybe even a few expensive treatments that promised miracles. And yet, here he is, still hurting, still limping, still pretending it's not that bad. But what if I told you there's something gentle, something natural, sitting right in your kitchen that could start to bring him real relief? It's not some rare herb or fancy oil from halfway around the world. It's castor oil and baking soda. Two things most people overlook. But when they're combined, something remarkable happens. Let's break it down. Castor oil is packed with something called ricinoleic acid. Sounds complicated, right? But all you need to know is, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. That means it helps calm down the very thing that causes that burning, stiff, aching pain in his joints. Now add baking soda into the mix. Not only does it help reduce acidity in the body, but it also creates an environment where inflammation struggles to survive. Together, they form a powerful team, soothing, softening, and slowly breaking down that tension your loved one's been carrying for years. I know what you might be thinking, but don't we need prescriptions for something like that? That's the thing. We've been trained to believe that relief has to come in a bottle from the pharmacy. But nature had its solutions long before modern medicine ever stepped in. And no, I'm not saying you should toss out everything your doctor recommends. But what if you could add this into your routine, and watch it make a difference? Here's how to try it safely. Take 1 tablespoon of castor oil and mix it with 1 teaspoon of baking soda until it forms a smooth paste. Gently rub it over the painful area, whether it's the knees, shoulders, or lower back. Then place a warm cloth or heating pad over it for about 20 minutes. Let it soak in. Let it do its thing. You might be surprised what happens. That stiffness? That ache that's been there for years? It might just start to ease. And even if it doesn't vanish overnight, imagine giving your grandfather something that feels comforting, warm, thoughtful, like a hug, but for his joints. But you know what? Pain relief is just the beginning. Because this same mix, this humble, kitchen-made remedy, has another surprising use. One that goes beyond just comfort and into confidence. Let's talk about skin health. And why this duo might be exactly what your loved one needs next. Let me take you back for a moment. Do you remember your Aunt Mary? She always had the softest hugs, smelled faintly of lavender, and never let you leave her house without a full belly. But there was one thing she struggled with for years, those dry, red patches on her arms. Eczema, they called it. Sometimes it was itchy. Sometimes painful. But always there. No matter how many prescription creams or fancy lotions she tried, the spots would flare up again like clockwork. She started hiding her arms under long sleeves, even in the summer. And when you asked her about it, she'd just brush it off with a half smile and say, "It's just my old skin acting up again." But what if I told you that one night, just one night, she tried something different? Something natural. Something simple. Just castor oil and a pinch of baking soda. She mixed it up, not expecting much, and gently dabbed it on the worst patch before bed. The next morning, the redness was softer. The itch was gone. Her skin looked calmer. And more importantly, she felt seen. She felt a little more like herself. You see, castor oil isn't just thick and sticky like most people think. It's full of antibacterial and antifungal properties. That means it helps fight off the tiny microbes that cause infections and irritations, especially in older skin that's become delicate over time. It's also deeply moisturizing, getting into those layers where the dryness really starts. And baking soda? Now, I know you've probably heard it's too harsh for the skin. And it can be if it's used the wrong way. But here's the truth most people miss. When you pair just a small amount of baking soda with a rich carrier like castor oil, it becomes a game changer. It helps neutralize skin pH, soothes inflammation, and gently exfoliates without scrubbing. That's why it's been used in home remedies for generations, for everything from rashes and bug bites to fungal flare-ups and dry, flaky skin. And yet, so many people overlook it. They turn to strong steroids, chemical ointments, expensive products with names they can't pronounce, when sometimes, relief is sitting right there in the pantry. Here's what you can do right now. Mix about 1 tablespoon of castor oil with just a pinch, maybe 1/4 teaspoon, of baking soda. Stir it into a creamy texture. Then gently apply it to any dry, irritated, or flaky area. Think of spots like elbows, feet, behind the knees. Or even those stubborn areas where fungal issues like to hide. Just remember, especially for our elders, who often have thinner and more sensitive skin, always test it on a small patch first. Make sure there's no reaction. Comfort and safety come first. And once you see that skin soften, that irritation fade, that confidence return in your loved one's eyes, that's when you'll realize it's not just a remedy. It's a kindness. But here's the truly beautiful part. This mix doesn't just sit on the surface. There's a quiet magic that happens when castor oil and baking soda go deeper, especially when it comes to something so many of our elders quietly struggle with. Let's talk about digestion. And how this humble blend might just bring relief where no medication ever could. Let me ask you something real. Have you ever watched an elderly loved one struggle after a meal? Not with the food itself, but with what comes after. That slow, uncomfortable bloating. The tightness in their belly. That look on their face that says, I don't feel right, but I don't want to make a fuss. Maybe it's your father, sitting back in his recliner, quietly pressing a hand to his side after dinner. Or your mother, who used to love big family meals, now picking at her plate because her stomach feels off more often than not. You know that feeling, when you want to help, but you're not sure how. Now, what if I told you that relief doesn't always have to come in the form of a pill or a powder, but maybe from something as simple as a warm cloth and a little oil? Barbara O'Neill, a name many of you may already know and trust in the world of natural healing, has long spoken about the power of castor oil packs placed right over the abdomen. She's seen it help with sluggish digestion, bloating, and even constipation in elderly folks who've tried everything else. But here's where it gets even more interesting. When you mix castor oil with just a bit of baking soda, you're not just soothing the outside, you're possibly helping the inside, too. Sounds strange, right? I mean, how can something you rub on your skin affect something like digestion? Let's break it down simply. Castor oil, when applied topically, stimulates lymphatic circulation. That's your body's natural detox and waste removal system. It helps move things along, gently. Now pair that with baking soda, which has a naturally alkalizing effect. While it's not magic, many believe it helps the body balance itself, reducing inflammation and calming the gut, especially when digestion starts to slow with age. Here's the truth, most people think if you're not swallowing a medicine, it can't do anything. But the body is a lot smarter and a lot more connected than we give it credit for. The skin is an organ, a communicator. And when you place the right natural substances on it, especially over an area like the stomach, it can stimulate circulation, calm nerves, and gently support the digestive process. No harsh side effects. No force. Just subtle, supportive healing. Here's how to try it. Take 1 tablespoon of castor oil and mix it with 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Gently massage it over the abdomen, just below the rib cage. Then, place a warm cloth or heating pad on top. Let them rest for 30 to 45 minutes. Maybe put on soft music. Dim the lights. Let them relax. Do this a few times a week, especially after heavier meals or on days when digestion feels off. It won't work like a switch, but over time, you might start to notice the difference. Less discomfort. More ease. And maybe even a return of that old appetite they'd started to lose. Because feeling good after a meal? That's not just a luxury, it's a form of dignity. But we're not done yet. Because while this remedy works wonders on the inside, it also has a surprising effect on something a lot of elders quietly struggle with on the outside, those brown spots, uneven patches, and signs of time that start to show up more and more. Let's talk about age spots, and why this mix might be the gentle, natural solution your loved one's been hoping for. Let me paint you a picture. You're sitting beside your mother one afternoon. Maybe the light's coming in just right through the window, and she looks down at her hands. Quietly, she says something like, "I never used to have these dark spots. Is there anything I can do about them?" It's not vanity, it's not about wanting to look young again. It's about dignity. About feeling like herself. About looking down and seeing skin that still feels like her, not something that time and age have marked without her permission. And in that moment, you don't hand her a harsh bleaching cream filled with chemicals you can't pronounce. You don't rush her off to a clinic. Instead, you smile, take her hand, and say, "Let's try something natural. Let's try this together." You see, castor oil and baking soda, just those 2 simple ingredients, can be a gentle answer to one of aging's quiet frustrations. Castor oil, deeply rich in fatty acids and vitamin E, is known to promote cell regeneration. It nourishes. It heals. It doesn't strip away, it builds up. This isn't about scrubbing, it's about soothing. Gently apply it only to the affected areas, those spots on the hands, face, or arms that your loved one feels self-conscious about. Let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. Then rinse it off with warm water, and follow up with a mild moisturizer, maybe aloe vera or a natural oil like sweet almond or coconut. And here's the key part: after treating those areas, always keep them protected from direct sunlight. The skin will be more sensitive, and sun exposure could undo the progress. Encourage them to wear a light scarf or use a natural sunscreen when going outside. Over time, and I mean real time, not 2 days but maybe 2 months, you might start to notice something subtle, those spots softening in color, the skin looking fresher. And maybe, just maybe, your mother looking at her hands again and saying, "They look a little better, don't they?" Because it's not just about appearances. It's about giving her back a little piece of confidence. A feeling of being seen, cared for, treated with respect, not just prescriptions. And while that gentle shift on the outside can mean so much, there's one final way this simple mix can support something even deeper, something the body is always doing quietly in the background: detox. Let's talk about how castor oil and baking soda might just help the body release what it no longer needs, from the inside out. Let me tell you a story that might sound familiar. There's a woman, let's call her Lisa. She's caring for her elderly father. A proud man, once full of energy, who now wakes up groggy, struggles with brain fog, and complains about dull headaches that just won't go away. Nothing alarming, just subtle, lingering discomfort that seems to have no clear cause. So Lisa starts trying something different. Not a prescription. Not another bottle of pills. She applies a gentle mixture of castor oil and baking soda to his abdomen, right over the liver area, a couple of times a week. Wraps him in a warm towel. Encourages him to rest quietly while it soaks in. At first, nothing seems to change. But after a few sessions, something curious happens. He starts sleeping better. His mood lifts. The headaches come less often. He even jokes about feeling a little more alive. Coincidence? Maybe. But maybe not. You see, castor oil has long been known to stimulate the lymphatic system, your body's internal drainage system. It's what helps clear out the waste, the build-up, the stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. And baking soda, with its mild alkalizing nature, is believed by some holistic health advocates to support pH balance in the body. When combined, they form a sort of natural support system, like a gentle nudge helping your body reset, rather than a harsh cleanse that leaves you drained. And that's where a lot of people get detox all wrong. They think detox means starvation, green juices, drastic diets. But the truth? Real detox is gentle. Especially for our elders, whose bodies aren't as quick to bounce back from extremes. It's not about purging, it's about supporting. Encouraging the liver, the lymph nodes, the kidneys, to do what they're already designed to do, just more effectively. Here's how to help your loved one try it safely. Take that familiar mix. 1 tablespoon of castor oil, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Apply it gently to the right side of the abdomen, just below the rib cage. That's where the liver sits. Place a warm, moist cloth over the area, something soothing, not too hot. Let them rest with it for 30 to 45 minutes. Soft music. Dim lighting. Quiet. And while they rest, offer them plenty of water. Because hydration is the key to flushing out what's being stirred up inside. Do this once or twice a week, no rush, no pressure. Just a gentle rhythm of support. And as time goes on, watch for the little signs: better sleep, clearer thoughts, a bit more energy, even brighter eyes. These aren't miracles. They're signals, subtle whispers from the body saying, "Thank you. I feel heard." Because as we age, the body doesn't just need medication, it needs partnership. A little help to keep things flowing, balanced, alive. You've now seen 5 powerful ways this humble mixture, castor oil and baking soda, might bring relief, comfort, and renewal to the ones you love most. But before we wrap up, let's pause for a moment. Not with science or recipes, but with emotion. Let's reflect on what this really means for you and for them. It's not easy, is it? Watching someone you love slip into quiet discomfort. The way they wince a little when they sit down. The way they rub their legs at night, hoping the aches will fade. Or how their once soft skin now feels papery, dry, or marked with spots they try to ignore. And sometimes, they don't say a word about it. You notice. You always do. But they won't complain. Because they're proud. Because they were the caregivers once. And now the roles have shifted. That shift, it's emotional. It's tender. You want to help, but you don't always know how. And you don't want to overwhelm them with pills or clinical routines that make them feel like patients. But what if help didn't have to come in a prescription bottle? What if it was something you mixed together with your own hands, in your own kitchen, something gentle, familiar, and rooted in nature? What if this simple blend, castor oil and baking soda, became a small act of healing and connection? You see, caring doesn't always need to be loud or complicated. Sometimes, it's just showing up. Sitting beside your father while he rests with a warm compress. Gently rubbing your mother's hands with a homemade balm. Asking, does that feel better? And seeing her nod, even just a little. Because this is about more than remedies. This is about giving back in a quiet, powerful way. It's about showing the people who raised you, who loved you through your messiest years, that you see them. You still see them. Not as burdens, but as the beating hearts behind your earliest memories. So if someone in your family is struggling with any of the things we've talked about, pain, irritation, fatigue, skin concerns, take 5 minutes. Go to the cupboard. Grab the oil. Scoop the baking soda. Mix it with care. Apply it with love. You might not see instant results. That's okay. Because this is more than just a remedy, it's reassurance. It's respect. It's your way of saying, I want you to feel safe and comfortable and cherished, even now. Especially now. And friend, I want you to know this, you're doing something beautiful. No, you're not curing every condition. But you are bringing comfort. You are restoring dignity. And you are proving, day by day, that love doesn't fade with time, but deepens. This journey of elder care? It's not always easy. But with awareness, intention, and a few natural tools in your pocket, it becomes a journey filled with purpose. And you are not alone in it. So, let's take a breath and gently revisit what we've uncovered today. Mixing castor oil with baking soda, it sounds so simple, right? But as you've just seen, this little home blend carries a quiet kind of power. We talked about relieving pain and inflammation, especially in joints that stiffen with age. We explored how this mix can soothe irritated skin, calm dryness, and gently ease rashes or patches that just won't go away. Then we moved inward, toward the digestive system, and how applying this blend topically over the abdomen might offer surprising support. We looked at lightening age spots and discoloration, with consistency, care, and without harsh chemicals. And finally, we touched on the deep and important work of supporting the body's natural detox processes, not with extremes, but with soft, steady intention. These aren't magic tricks. They're not overnight cures. But they are part of a long tradition, a quiet body of wisdom passed down from grandmothers, herbalists, and voices like Barbara O'Neill. Remedies grounded in nature, supported by science, and fueled by love. Now let me ask you something, friend. Have you ever used castor oil? Or baking soda? Did your parents or grandparents swear by it? Maybe you've got a story, something small, something powerful, that you've seen with your own eyes. If so, I'd love to hear it. Share your experience in the comments. Let's turn this video into a space where real people swap real stories, where your voice helped someone else find hope. And hey, if this helped you even a little, give it a thumbs up. That simple click lets us know we're making a difference together. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to Elders Wisdom Institute. This channel is growing into a beautiful place of shared care, health awareness, and quiet strength. We're building something meaningful here, a space for the ones who care deeply, who want to learn, and who want to offer the best to their aging loved ones. And finally, thank you. Thank you for sitting with me through this. Thank you for being open. And thank you for being the kind of person who wants to make life more comfortable, more joyful, and more human for someone you love. Remember, it's the small actions that speak the loudest. A warm cloth. A gentle rub on the knees. A thoughtful moment in the kitchen. These are the things that whisper, I'm here. I care. You matter. Stay wise. Stay compassionate. And I'll see you in the next video right here at the Elders Wisdom Institute.